What is going on, everybody? Back with another video. Hopefully, you guys are having a fantastic Labor Day. All things considered, everything is going good on my end. As you know, Georgia Southern lost to Fresno State 42-14, and this is the press conference afterwards. Well, a few days after, where we get to see what Coach Clay Helton has to say about what happened and what they're going to do to correct things. And if you're a Georgia Southern fan like myself, we all are dying to hear this because it's kind of like the continuation of what happened last year when you see that we could not really stop the run. We really couldn't do anything to stop what a running back can do when we're facing them. I mean, we've been having this issue for a few years now, but nevertheless, we thought it was going to be corrected. But we saw on the first game, you saw what happened: 300 something plus, 350 plus yards rushing, and we got ran off the field. So we're going to look at this press conference. We're going to react to it. Hopefully you guys will hang out and give me your thoughts and opinions, because I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions about what Coach Clay Helton has to say. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what he got to say.
All righty, guys. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Obviously, not the start that we wanted for the season against Fresno State, and really a tale of two halves, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. It really was.
Anytime you're on the road, you know that you're going to have a tough battle, especially at Fresno State. Great venue. It was very electric that night. And we did the things that we needed to do in the first half, being able to create turnovers, be able to have in the third down efficiency that you needed to be able to sustain drives, and found a way to be up at halftime 14-13. Unfortunately, did not get that done in the second half and lost the battle of field position, lost the battle of third downs, going 0 for 5 on third downs offensively.
You know, that's one thing we haven't talked about in the live stream the other or earlier today. They were 0 for 5 on third down after starting out 4 of 6. So I know a lot of people came at me and said that the offense wasn't a problem. You know, I stand corrected. The offense has to be on the field. They got to find a way to stay on the field. So yeah, I totally agree. This is an issue. I mean, if you can't sustain third downs, that's absolutely is a problem. I think I said that right. Sorry. It's absolutely a problem. Got to sustain third down and keep moving the ball.
In the second half, while overall in the game, I thought Fresno State did a really nice job of 6 of 10 for the game, sustaining drives, and especially in the second half where they did a nice job of running the football. We're in Oxnard right now preparing for USC. Very thankful to Dr. Marrero as well as Chris Davis for allowing us not to make that long travel back and having to come back out here and to have this experience for our kids. We'll be training here all the way till Friday, and then we'll make the trek down to Los Angeles, where we get the unbelievable opportunity to walk into one of the great places of history, to Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, and play a really, really good USC football team. So with that, I'll take any questions that you have.
Thanks, Coach. Guys, make sure you unmute yourself for the question and then remute yourself when you're done.
Coach, it's Josh Aubrey. In
Hey.
preseason, you were very high on the defense, especially the line and the linebacker core. Like on the initial drive, things didn't go very well. And kind of bend but not break the rest of the half. Held them to a couple field goals, and then the second half, things kind of fell apart. Tackling looked pretty bad, especially in the second half. It didn't look like they were wrapping up. Where do you think it's fixable, and what's your assessment Saturday from a defensive standpoint?
You know, Josh always comes out with good questions. Yeah, the defense didn't wrap up. They didn't tackle well. A lot of things didn't go well. What are you going to do to change that?
Yeah, Josh, I think, just being really honest, as you watch that tape, 3 things happened in the run game specifically. One, and a lot of times it happens in game 1, and it's really important to improve from game 1 to game 2. One was our alignment. We had some alignment busts with that run game. We had some missed assignments that cost us, and then we put ourselves in positions to make plays, and like you said, we missed tackles. That created those third and
You know what? I kind of agree with him a little bit, but I don't think it was alignment. I don't think people was out of a position. It was, they literally lined up pretty almost the same way every single time, and they didn't try to address to put more people in the box. So I mean, I guess that's a little bit true, but most of that was just basically y'all just didn't even try to do anything different. And you trying to say it's misalignment. So are you saying the kids were misaligned or your defensive setup was not correct? I think it's mostly coaching. I don't think the kids were out of place. I think they were right where they needed to be because the coaches told them to.
And 1-5s that allowed them to go 6 for 10 and sustain drives. Fortunately, in the first half, we were able to find ways to get the ball. We created the 3 turnovers that were huge for us in being able to sustain that lead. Unfortunately, we did not do that in the second half. But I think what is fixable is being able to line up correctly, being able to do our assignment on a consistent basis, and then when we're in that one-on-one tackling position, which
So I'm gonna stop him again, right? So he said line up correctly. Do you guys really think that the guys on the field weren't lined up correctly? Maybe to an extent, but I think it's just the defensive scheme is just flawed because this is something that's been going on for over a year. Go back all the way to the Boise State game last year. You can even go back even further when we played against Marshall. I think what's that guy named Ladarius Webb played against Marshall, and they ran the ball down our throat. So I don't think this is something that's you just misaligned wrong. No, it wasn't Ladarius. It was South Alabama. I'm sorry, South Alabama, not Marshall. I apologize. It was South Alabama that ran the ball against us that way. So this is not just an alignment problem. I think this is the way your scheme is just messed up. It's not correct.
We had about a half dozen times that the ball could have been downed right there and we missed the tackle. Those are the things that have got to get corrected from week 1 to week 2 so we can produce some third and long situations rather than those third and manageable.
Well, I can agree with that because when it's third and long, you're going to have EJ Warner throwing the ball and he already threw 2 picks. So yeah, I can agree with that side of the things. But then again, when you're aligned, when your scheme is just flawed and these guys are just running through like truck, 18 wheeler size truck holes, you can't do nothing about that.
Hey, Coach, this also goes into USC and what they were able to do. 233 yards on the ground, dispersed between, it looks like 7 backs, but primarily 4. What do you see from the Trojans, especially from the run game? Is that something you guys are really going to have to dial in on?
Yeah, having watched the cut-ups from last year over the summer and then watching last week's team, this is a different football team than last year. I think it is a better personnel football team. Obviously, you're dealing with one of the more brilliant minds in college football in Coach Riley, and he's always done a great job. I've had the opportunity to be around the Lane Kiffins and the Steve Sarkisians, and Coach Riley is one of those guys that he gets the best players the ball, and he finds ways to be able to put them out in space, and he did that last week.
One thing I will say that about Coach Clay Helton, you could tell he's been around these type of guys as far as coaching because every person that he named, they do know how to move the ball offensively. But the problem is, you take that from them and you actually implement this at Georgia Southern, which is fine. But the deficiency with Georgia Southern is the defense. You need to find a way to get some guys in here that can coach some defense. And the guys that you brought in, I don't know if it's just the scheme or whatever. Is it the players? I don't think it's necessarily the players because we saw some really good players come through here during Coach Clay Helton's tenure. It's just that the scheme is just not there. It's just not there.
To be able to get his playmakers the opportunities in one-on-one situations, whether it's run game, whether it's pass game, it was just really impressive. I think anytime that you put 73 points on the board, you're doing things right. And he did a great, masterful job last week of taking his playmakers and making sure that they distributed the ball to them.
Well, no disrespect to Missouri State. You played Missouri State. I ain't got nothing to say about that, but it is what it is.
And so they're an impressive group. We've got a huge challenge this week against them, and we'll try to go put our best foot forward.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the second half offensively. I know you're trying to leave there healthy, and at a certain point the game's out of reach, but when you only have 75 yards in the second half, does that concern you at all moving forward?
Well, like I said
Well,
earlier,
it should,
Tyler, it
because
was
Hurnell.
really a tale of two halves. I thought we did the things in the first half to create some third and manageables, and then you convert. You go 4 of 6. On third down, which is a 67% ratio, and you're really doing the things that are needed. On a limited drive night, you knew it was going to be somewhere between 9 to 10 drive opportunities based on the offense that we were playing against, and you had to make the most of it. And so we were able to get 2 long drives. Our field position was not great in this game. We averaged, I think, the 20-yard line in the first half, 21-yard line in the second half, compared to their 40-yard line in the first half and 30 in the second half.
But I mean, but still, it's like even with that, you still were able to have the lead at halftime. So the field position thing is a big deal what you think it is. All you got, you know what? This is very simple, and I mean we got a long ways to go. We're only 5 minutes in, so we got a long ways to go. This right here easily could be a situation where you just play better defense. That's it. You played that better. You play defense like you did the first half. You're fine.
So we did the things on the early downs that I thought were needed against a team that showed a lot of exotic pressures on third downs, and we sustained drives. And you come out in the second half, and if you go back and watch the first and second down efficiency, that's why you went 0 for 5. We had a lot of second and 10s, had a couple penalties that set us back, had some negative yardage plays, and now all of a sudden against that football team, we're having to dump the ball down on a third and 10, and it gets 6 yards, 7 yards, and you're having to punt the football. And we go 0 for 5 against a group that we needed to hold the ball more offensively against.
Yeah, and this is where I go back to say I do say that I am I am going to backtrack on a little bit of things I said, because I did say the offense is fine, but you can't be fine when you go 0 for 5 in the second half. So I do understand the offense does need a little bit of work too. But it's all about getting your guys in a rhythm, and if the defense can't, let's keep going.
And so this was a team loss. Our guys know that. I thought Fresno beat us in all 3 phases, just being real. I thought they beat us offensively, defensively, and in field position and special teams. And now our job is to do what they did, is to be able to respond from game 1 to game 2 and be able to fix the things that you have in opening game losses on the road, And unfortunately, we're here working on those right now in Oxnard, and hopefully we'll have put a better foot forward in game 2 and correct those things.
You need to sound better than that. You might want to say that you actually think you can win this game. If anybody need to have that mindset as the coach, don't just try to put your best foot forward. Yeah, you're going up against USC, and I'll be the first one to tell you I don't think that we'll necessarily win this game, but you need to have to instill that confidence in yourself and others. Maybe how delusional it may sound, you still need to put that confidence, because anything can happen. Just go ask Tulane. Ask Tulane what happened against them with USC. So you just never know.
Ryan, you can go ahead. I see your hand raised.
It's a long time no see. It's such a unique situation.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to feel like coming down that tunnel in the Coliseum?
Yeah. Well, Ryan, good to see you, my friend. Been a while, man. Hope you're doing well. It is special. I was talking to Ryan Carty a little bit ago and visiting with him, and he asked that question. And I think, Ryan, one of the more special things for me is being able to bring our team out here. This is the first time for our university ever to step foot in this California and compete.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to. I really don't want to hear this side of things. It's kind of a spin where you basically are talking about, it's the first time here, this, that, and the third. This is your 4th year here. Your 4th year here, you need to have these guys ready. At least should have been much more prepared than you were against Fresno State. You talked all of this stuff about this when we were on the off season, how ready you guys were, and you laid an egg. So yeah, this sounds good, but yeah.
As a football team, it's our first time playing a California team, both in Fresno and USC. And I've got a couple guys that have never been on a plane before, let alone get to come out to California.
No excuses. Cut it out.
and be a part of this and stay in Dallas Cowboys training facility and have a chance to walk into such a special place.
I got a question. Why the Dallas Cowboys training facility is in California? And you wonder why Dallas is having their problems. Some of the stuff don't make sense.
Place like the Coliseum and see that so I'm most excited for them, to be honest with you, to have this experience, to have this college experience. Personally, it's going to be special for me. Yeah, definitely. There's 12 years of relationships. I have so much gratitude for having been a Trojan for a decade plus. And
oh Lord, what's the next question? Let me fast forward and see.
Eagle, that makes me have goosebumps right now. So ball team on a very unique experience. Yeah,
was able to bounce back.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Is pretty neat.
Fresno State had a rough week 0.
Yeah,
and was able to bounce back. I know I covered the team up there. It's a tough place to play, but is it one of those things where just getting the first game out of the way, you feel like, hey, stay on this coast? There's a good opportunity to kind of bounce back because you already have at least you have a game under your belt now.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to visit with the team last night, and really, I've always thought adversity is a blessing, especially early on. We've got a really tough conference road game schedule this year, going to App State and going to Marshall, going to Arkansas State. Having the opportunity to be in some really tough venues, JMU coming up, and this having a chance to be at Fresno, which was a great crowd, having a chance to go to a place like the Coliseum is only going to make us stronger and more galvanized for the rest of our season.
I can agree with that. You playing against these two teams, that they're probably going to give you somewhat of a it's going to give you so much of an experience that you can't get when you go back into Sun Belt play. So I do agree with that. I'm gonna go here a couple more minutes and I'm gonna get up out of here because we got. This is an entire 30-minute media availability section, and I don't want to go through everything. I kind of got exactly the gist of what's going on here.
As you see across the board, in week 1, it's not really the teams that win games. It's the mistakes that you make, and whoever makes the most mistakes is usually losing the game, and that was us last week. I thought that Fresno did a really nice job of going from the Kansas game where they made some mistakes to really saying, okay, this is what we're going to do offensively to limit mistakes. This is what we're going to do defensively, and they played a better game. And
you know what? That you can say that, but honestly, Fresno is exactly what they were in the first half. They were the same exact team that they were in the first half that they were in Kansas. The only difference is that we had to get our we had to get our footing on the field because it was our first game. But it was the same exact Fresno State team that was in Kansas. But the second half they adjusted and you got out coached. That's basically what it is. You know what? I don't have anything else to say. Y'all let me know what y'all think. This you can watch the rest of this. I'll put the link down in the description if you can't find it. It's on the Georgia Southern Athletic YouTube channel. Listen, they got a lot of work to do. And I think a lot of it goes back to coaching. I don't think it's much of anything outside of that. And I feel like if they can make some real good adjustments, they will be fine in the Sun Belt Conference when it comes to conference play. But I think this USC game, you need to sound confident that you can win this game because anything can happen. But I don't see it personally. I think it's going to be a situation where we're probably going to see the carbon copy of what we saw this past Saturday. But who knows? After that, you come back home, you play Jacksonville State, you got the rest of the schedule in front of you, and those games that you have left are winnable. They're winnable. There's no other team in front of you after that really gives you problems on paper. But you mess around and you get a close game against Jacksonville State, people are going to be started asking for this guy's job. They're already doing it now, but you know what I mean. So let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna get up out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. It's basic coach talk. It is what it is. So I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all take it easy and y'all be blessed. All right, y'all. Peace.